What's up, guys? In this video, I'm going to show you how to be him. How to be Himothy, to be the main character and actually believe it. If you are ready to see yourself in a completely different light, hit the like button. It's the cost of entry, bro. I don't make the rules, just hit the like button. You will not be disappointed. You gotta understand is being him is a mindset. Okay? You could have all the money in the world. You could have the best clothes. You could have the best skin, the best facial structure. You could have all of that. But if you don't believe it, if you don't have that mentality, that confidence that I am him, that I know what I have to offer, and if you don't like it, that's your loss, then you out of luck. That's honestly what it is. Being him is the confidence in yourself. Now we're gonna talk a little bit more about that, but I need that to be established. Okay, being him is a mentality. It's how you view yourself. Because regardless if you recognize it or not, every day you are selling to people who you are. You are selling them some image, right? It could be, oh, you're the really cool guy, right? Or it could be, I'm the really athletic guy, or anything like that. You are selling your image to other people. You are convincing them of who you are. And I want you to show everybody around you, not to show them that you're that guy, show them that you know you're that guy. Step to acknowledging your potential as Himothy Jr. the third is that you have to reach a point of self-acceptance. You have to accept yourself. The difference between having self-confidence and having self-acceptance. And this is how I kind of distinguish the two. Self-confidence is very situational, right? For example, I'm really confident in public settings. I'm really confident in social gatherings and whatnot. I know that I can go and talk to people and whatnot. That's one of my strengths. In those scenarios, I feel empowered. I feel confident, right? But in other situations, like if you were gonna put me, let me think of an example, right? If you were to put me in a dance studio and be like, hey yo, we're playing Afro beats, dance something, then I'm not gonna be as confident because I'm not as comfortable in that situation, right? So self-confidence is kind of, to a degree, very situational. Now, when you have self-acceptance, that's where you recognize every piece of yourself. You take a whole inventory of the things about you, the things you like, the things you don't like, and instead of punishing yourself for the things that you don't necessarily like, you start to embrace those things and say, you know what, that's a part of me, and all of me is enough. So for the longest time, especially in high school, I wanted to be the mysterious guy. I wanted to be the guy who kind of like sits in the corner. The girls don't really know what's on his mind. You know, he talks very minimalistically, like he gives one word answers. So you're always, every word is more valuable. Like you're really trying to get to know this guy, right? I thought that was the person I want to be. So I tried for a really long time. I would literally dim my light. I would dim my light so that it came off as more like cool, suave. I don't really care about that. It was the thing though. I didn't like being that person. And I was never good at being that person. I wasn't good at being mysterious. I'm a very outward guy. I'm a very friendly person. I love talking to other people. I love making people laugh and whatnot. And if it's a party and stuff, I like to be at the center. I like to be the center of it all. I'm not the guy who sits on the side, you know, with my arms crossed, you know, looking cool with his leather jacket, man. That's just not me. And the sooner that I realized that, the quicker that I realized that, the quicker that I started to accept that, hey, you know what, that's not me, but I'm fine the way I am. That's when I started to genuinely think I was him, genuinely confident in that. So yeah, with the believing that you're him and whatnot, like the self-confidence and self-acceptance, once you accept yourself, you'll realize that self-confidence will come with it. For example, this one is more physical, right? I am smack down average height. I'm not tall, I am not short, right? I'm between 5'7" and 5'8", depending on if the girl is wearing glasses or not. So, right, for the longest time, I was insecure about my height. I was really insecure about my height, and I really thought I was making it an issue. It wasn't really an issue when it came to dating for me, right? I never really had somebody say like, hey, yo, you too short, or hey, yo, you're not tall enough, right? I was making it an issue in my own head. Right? And there's actually a phrase that really shines a lot of light on this, right? Those things you call impurities are nothing but insecurities, right? And that's a very powerful saying, because basically what that's saying is the things that you think are wrong about you, you think are wrong about you. That doesn't necessarily reflect reality. You understand what I'm saying? The insecurities, once you label them, hey, that's an insecurity, that's something that I think is wrong about me, but that's not necessarily true in reality. I tell you, bro, when I accepted, I was like, hey, yo, this is my height. This is my height. I can't do anything to change it, so I might as well embrace it. You know, it's only an issue if I make it an issue. So I started to just act like I was 6 feet tall. Act like I was 7 foot tall. Walk around with that energy, bro. That's what self-acceptance will do for you. You need to accept, you need to look at yourself and be like, hey, yo, these are the things about me. These are the things I love. These are the things that maybe I don't love so much. But you know what? It's all part of me. So I'm going to embrace it no matter what. And I'm going to act as if I am the hardest dude out here. Like I got the most value. Like I got the most to offer. You got to walk around with that. So yeah, that's what self-acceptance will do for you. That's the first part of becoming him. Step to being him, you need to be on your purpose, bro. You need to be on your purpose. You need to have some sort of direction in your life. Now, I'm not saying that you have to have everything mapped out. You don't have to have everything mapped out. That's really unrealistic, right? But you should be working towards something. You shouldn't be aimless. Whether it's getting closer to God, whether it's working on a hobby for you or a side hustle. Like for me, it's YouTube, right? Maybe it's building a business, or maybe it's working in your 9-to-5 job right now. You're trying to climb the ranks, right? But your purpose should not be chasing these girls. It should not be chasing these girls. Your purpose should not be going to parties. Your purpose should not just be having fun, laying back, doing activities or anything like that, bro. You should have some direction in your life, because with direction comes conviction. The funny thing is, when you have direction in your life, when you're focused on your purpose, whatever that is, even if it's like going to the gym, that's a really genuine one, right? But I'm going to use the example if you're working on content or you're trying to make money and stuff like that, right? When you find that you're on your purpose, the rewards will come for you, right? If you're focused on moving your life in a certain direction, you're set on it, right? And you're moving towards it, you'll find that the good things like the attention from girls, or the friendships, or the people who have your back and whatnot, you'll find that different parts of your life will start to be put in place because you're moving somewhere. There's a certain level of pride that you get when you set a goal and you achieve it, right? It's building trust with yourself. Some can say that confidence is having trust in yourself. Trust that you can do it. How do you know that you can do it? Because you've done it before, right? Maybe not in that same specific scenario, right? But let me use an example. I like to talk with examples. Let's just say you weigh 300 pounds, and let's say you want to weigh 170, right? That's a pretty big difference, and it's a really scary difference too. So if it's your first time stepping in the gym, having that daunting task ahead of you, you're going to be scared and you're going to think you can't do it, right? But let's say you still weigh 300 pounds, but you used to weigh 400, right? And you trimmed all the way down to 300. And then you decide, you know what? Now I want to go to 170 or whatever number I said before, right? You have that experience. You did something like that before. So you trust that you can do it again, right? There's a certain level of pride that you get from that. And it's almost like a feedback loop. Be like, hey, I did something like this. I did something hard before. I could do this. Sometimes it carries over. Like maybe you set a gym goal and you achieved that gym goal, right? Say you wanted to lift 100 pounds, right? And then you got to 100 pounds. And maybe in some other area of your life, you're like, okay, I want to start a YouTube channel, right? And now you already have proof from your past that when you start something, you finish it. So you take that newfound pride, that newfound confidence into something else and say, hey, yo, I did something hard like that before. I did something hard. It was different. It was in a different field, different area of my life. But I know that I don't quit. I have proof. I have receipts. I have receipts that I don't quit, right? When you're on your purpose and you start to actually achieve things in your purpose, you do what you set out to do, you're going to gain a certain level of pride. And that's going to feed in to that mentality of, hey, yo, I'm him. The third thing you need is an abundance mindset, right? The battle in your mind is the most important one. It is by far the most important. And sometimes you're not fighting against the enemy, you're fighting against yourself, right? The limitations that you set on yourself, those are going to determine how far you go in life. If you say to yourself, if you weigh 300 pounds and you say, oh, well, if only I could get to 250, right? And maybe you do get to 250, but you could have gone to 180. You could have gone that far. It may have been a longer journey. It may have been harder, but you could have done it. But because you set your limits so low, you set your expectations so low, right? That's all you were able to do because you couldn't see yourself going further. Let's say you want to make a certain level of a certain amount of money a year, and you say, you know what? Well, God, I would be happy if I got this much. If there's one thing I've learned from my faith and my walk with Christ at this point in my life right now, is that you have to pray bold prayers. You have to ask for more and believe that you're going to receive them, right? And then in a non-religious aspect, the same applies to life. You need to ask for more. You can't just settle for what you got. I don't care what's happened in your life so far. I don't care how many times you've been disappointed, right? You have to believe that there is better, that there is good for you. Now, I'm not saying to disregard your blessings and not accept them, right? I'm not saying to set your expectations so high that they're completely unrealistic and that you beat yourself up if you don't reach them or you're hurting other people and whatnot, right? What I'm saying is to have the courage to be bold with your desires and what you want out of life, because that's what people, that's what the people who believe that they're him do, right? You ever see a guy and he's walking down the street with a gorgeous girlfriend, right? Stunning, completely out of his league. She's a 10 and he's like a 2, right? How do you think he bagged that? You think he would be able to do that if he said, oh, well, if only I could, be with someone who at least looked okay or anything like that. Now, I'm not trying to push anything superficial. Please try and hear the message, the underlying message, right? But it applies the same way, right? If you set the limit for yourself so low, how can you expect to go higher than that? So be bold with your desires, be bold with your expectations out of life, and have that abundance mindset that you are worth good things and that you can get good things. Next thing you need is a growing mindset, right? So this is separate from the abundance mindset. And it's kind of similar to having direction, but you should be improving in life, right? Direction is essentially what you're doing. You need to be going to a certain destination, right? But you should have this mindset that you want to improve in life. It's a very thin line when it comes to the whole self-improvement thing, right? On the one hand, you need to understand that there is room for growth. But on the other hand, you also need to accept yourself where you are and not beat yourself up for not being where you want to be. You should not be stagnant in yourself. You should be learning to heal from past traumas. You should be learning to get over toxic mindsets. You should be learning how to think more positively. You should be learning how to handle your triggers when it comes to life. What triggers you in life? You should be learning more about yourself, learning more about the life around you, right? You should be growing as a person. I believe the most important thing when it comes to becoming that guy, to being the main character in your life, is you need to respect yourself. We talked about having a growing mindset, having an abundance mindset, and saying, you know what, having the belief that, hey, I can get what I want to get, right? But what about letting go of the things that do not serve you, right? The ability, the self-respect to say, hey, yo, this is below my standards. This is below the vibration that I want for my life. This does not fit into my into my puzzle. This piece doesn't fit into the puzzle of my life. So I need to let it go. You need to have that certain level of respect for yourself to be able to walk away from things. And sometimes they're good things. Sometimes they're things that you want. Sometimes it's a person that you really want. You know in your heart you really want. But they treat you a certain way. And you could have them, but you also have the negative effects that come with them. You need to have the self-respect to say, you know what? And it goes back to that growth mindset. Be like, this doesn't fit into my life. This doesn't fit into my puzzle. I'm choosing to walk away from this. Because not only do I know that there's better out there, that I am worth better out there, but I understand that this doesn't serve me. And no matter how bad I want it, I'm willing to walk away because I know it's not good for me. I understand that's not an easy thing. You know how many times in my life I walked back to people I should not have been with, people who I should not have been entertaining, because I truly didn't believe, I didn't have those standards for myself. I didn't have the standards of self-respect and say, you know what, that's not what I'm gonna tolerate. No, I'm good. I'm good. Double it, give it to the next person. You know how many times that I've fallen into that hole? And that's why I can stress the importance of it now. Because now I recognize the sheer impact that could have in your life. The impact that having the skill, having the ability to recognize a situation and say, you know what? That's not for me. The last stage of becoming Himothy himself is to hit the like button. You know I wasn't gonna let that slide, right? You know I wasn't gonna let that slide. You were watching this video this entire time and you still ain't hit the like button. Soaking up all this free game, but it's okay. I'm a forgiving person. I'm a very forgiving person. Just hit the like button and we'll be a-okay. If you like this video, you might actually like this one. So I advise you check it out. For me, and I'll see you guys in the next video.